Time travel is not a reality. Not at least yet. Now, because of that, we can't learn about the lives of our ancient ancestors by meeting them or asking them questions. Instead, we have to study the things they left behind, and that's exactly what archaeology is for. By examining objects from a different time and place, we uncover more about how our ancestors lived and died. So join us for today's video, as we're going to reveal some most surprising ancient artifact finds, starting with number 15, the giant footprint in Texas. Belief in ancient giants isn't new, but the supposed evidence for them often sparks controversy. In Glen Rose, Texas, near the Paluxy River, one such artifact continues to stir debate: a massive footprint carved into the limestone riverbed. The print measures nearly 2 feet long and is far wider than a normal human foot. Based on its proportions, experts estimate the person who left it would have stood close to 10 feet tall. Scientists argue the footprint is a natural rock formation or erosion pattern, but its symmetry and depth raise doubts. Rather than offer a full explanation, many researchers simply dismiss it altogether, calling it a pure coincidence. Meanwhile, theories about a suppressed history involving giant humans continue to circulate, with some even claiming institutions like the Smithsonian have hidden similar finds. Whether the footprint is ancient, artificial, or just a freak geological shape, it refuses to be ignored. Its existence continues to challenge what we accept as possible in prehistoric human history. Number 14, the Guatemala Stone Head. Back in the 1950s, during the baby boomers era deep in the jungles of Guatemala, a massive stone head was found, one unlike any other known in Mesoamerican history. Its facial features were distinctly Caucasian, sharply contrasting with the styles used by the region's ancient civilizations. While the Olmecs are known for carving creepy, colossal heads thousands of years ago, none of them look like this. The head also faced the sky, just as the Olmec statues do, but its European-like features set it apart entirely. For the Olmecs to have built it, they would have had to encounter a person with those traits, which should have been impossible at that time. Sadly, the statue didn't survive long. Within a decade of its discovery, it was heavily damaged during a local military conflict, and today, it exists only in a few faded photographs. That absence makes it easy for skeptics to disregard it, but the photographic evidence still shows what once was. I don't know whether it's a coincidence or suppressed history. The truth behind it is a mystery. Number 13, the Omphalos of Delphi. At the Delphi Archaeological Museum in Greece, you'll find a curious marble relic known as the Omphalos of Delphi. It was recovered from the ancient city of Delphi, once considered the spiritual and geographical center of the world by the Greeks. According to legend, Zeus released 2 eagles from opposite ends of the earth, and they met in Delphi, marking it as Earth's navel. That's what Omphalos means, the navel. While archaeologists still debate whether the existing artifact is the original or a replica, its importance remains undisputed. 2nd century Greek traveler Pausanias wrote that he saw the Omphalos in its original spot during his visit. He described it as draped in wool, decorated with precious stones, and topped with twin golden eagles. Those details haven't survived the centuries, but the carved stone remains. Whether original or copy, it still marks what the ancients believed was the very heart of the planet, a spiritual and symbolic center point for those who once gathered at Delphi's sacred site. Number 2, San Pedro Mountains Mummy. Well, back in June 1934, during the good old days, 2 gold prospectors blasted open a cave in Wyoming's San Pedro Mountains and were stunned by what they found inside. Tucked into the small cavern was a fully mummified human body, yet it didn't look like any normal human they had ever seen. Known today as the San Pedro Mountains Mummy, the remains were incredibly small, standing just over 6 inches tall in a seated position. Native American legends speak of a race of little people who once lived in the mountains, healers with unusual powers. For some, this creepy mummy validates those stories. Later X-rays revealed raw meat inside the stomach, confirming that it was an adult male who had died around the year 1700 with a severe birth deformity. While scientists lean toward that explanation, not everyone accepts it. The mummy vanished sometime in the 1980s and hasn't been seen since, leaving behind only old photographs and X-ray scans. With its sudden disappearance, so too went the chance to ever re-examine what could have been a unique genetic outlier or something much older or weirder. Number 11. Queen Mother Pendant Mask. This pendant isn't just a scary and striking sculpture. You won't believe it, but it's a personal tribute from a 16th century Benin king to his mom. Known as the Queen Mother Pendant Mask, it comes from the once powerful Benin Kingdom in what is now Nigeria. The highly respected King Izigi, considered one of the most influential rulers of his time, wore this pendant across his chest during ceremonial events. It depicts his mother Idia, who served as his advisor and was instrumental to his reign. The mask is crafted from ivory, iron, and copper, materials that reflected the kingdom's wealth and political strength. Around Idia's face are intricate carvings of Portuguese traders, whose arrival brought prosperity, and double-headed fish, whose meaning is lost but clearly symbolic. This mask wasn't just decorative, it was a public symbol of power, loyalty, and legacy. Izigi may have been the king, but this pendant made it clear his mother stood right beside him, honored in the most permanent way possible, immortalized in ivory. Number 10. The Davenport Tablets. Few artifacts have drawn more hostility than the Davenport Tablets. Found in 1877 by Reverend Jacob Gass in burial mounds in Davenport, Iowa, the stone slabs have divided scholars ever since. Critics say they're obvious forgeries, perhaps made by Gass himself or planted by someone else. Their argument is backed by the fact that Gass had a history of collecting fake Native American pipes, and the tablets appear to be carved on roofing slate. Supporters, however, believe they're the American equivalent of the Rosetta Stone. One tablet in particular shows what seems to be an Egyptian opening of the mouth ceremony, complete with obelisks and hieroglyphic markings. That alone is enough to raise eyebrows. If authentic, it would suggest direct or indirect cultural contact between ancient Egypt and North America. While mainstream archaeologists continue to reject the tablets, no one has completely debunked their imagery or dismissed the possibility of earlier global connections. Until someone proves otherwise, they remain one of the most provocative pieces in American archaeological history. Number 9. Canterbury Astrolabe Quadrant. Back in 2008, the British Museum secured a one-of-a-kind medieval artifact thanks to a £350,000 grant. Known as the Canterbury Astrolabe Quadrant, this 14th century device was discovered during construction work in Kent just 3 years earlier. It's a rare tool, only 8 like it are known to exist. Think of it as the medieval equivalent of a pocket calculator. It could track time, measure depth and height, and even help map out the stars. The artifact's origins are linked with none other than Geoffrey Chaucer, author of the Canterbury Tales. Chaucer was deeply familiar with astrolabes, and since this one was crafted in Canterbury during his lifetime, it's tempting to imagine he may have used it. Though its appearance is modest, the tool's functionality was cutting edge for the time. Before the computer age, this was state-of-the-art tech. Now housed in the museum, the quadrant continues to amaze researchers with the precision and complexity of what humanity once achieved without electricity or silicon chips. Number 8. Nubathataf. Chess has ruled board games for centuries, but it didn't appear out of nowhere. It evolved from earlier strategy games, one of the most important being Nefata. This Viking-era game, born in Scandinavia, spread throughout Europe and translates to King's Table. Boards and pieces have been found buried in Viking graves, often alongside swords and ornaments. That kind of burial tells us the game held serious meaning, likely more than just fun. Sadly, the original rules haven't survived. Historians have tried to recreate them based on what we know, but no version can be confirmed as accurate. What's clear is that the game mattered. If warriors wanted it buried next to their weapons, it probably had ritual or symbolic weight. It might have represented strategy, leadership, or even the afterlife. We'll likely never know for sure. It's just very sad. Number 7. Fort Rock Sandals. In 1938, Before AI and ChatGPT, inside Fort Rock Cave in Oregon, archaeologist Luther Cressman made a discovery that changed how far back we trace human clothing. Hidden beneath volcanic ash, he found ancient sandals, lots of them. By the end of the excavation, more than 100 pairs had been recovered, most still intact. These sandals were buried under layers of ash from an eruption nearly 9,000 years ago. Remarkably, some date back even further, up to 11,000 years. Their construction is surprisingly familiar: flat soles, open toes for airflow, and woven fibers in a twined pattern. They even had ankle cords to keep them secured, something we still use today. These aren't just the oldest known shoes in the world, they prove that practicality and design have walked side by side for a very long time. While it's hard to say for sure that this is where sandal wearing began, we haven't found anything older. Number 6. Stone Club Head of Misilim. Well, now this is just out of this world. Back in 1881, archaeologists unearthed a peculiar stone artifact in the ancient Sumerian city of Jersu, what's now known as the Stone Club Head of Misilim. Its carvings carry the name of Misilim, king of Kish, who reigned during the early dynastic period about 4,400 years ago. The inscription credits him with building a temple for the goddess Ninursag and states that the object was gifted to Entemena, ruler of Lagash. This hints at a possible diplomatic gesture following tensions between Lagash and Umma, which were neighboring city-states often at odds. What sets this artifact apart isn't just the inscription, it's the depiction of a mace, which was still a new military innovation at the time. That detail turned the mace into a broader symbol of authority and power. Though the object's original purpose is still debated, many scholars believe it was used ceremonially. Now, I don't know if it's a peace offering or display of dominance, but what I know is that it matters for these people. Number 5. The Nazca Trophy Heads. The Nazca lines are Peru's most famous geoglyphs, but the people behind them had another, darker tradition. They collected and preserved human heads, long believed to be war trophies taken from enemies. That theory changed in 2009 when researchers at Chicago's Field Museum examined the remains. Their analysis revealed that the skulls didn't belong to outsiders. They were from individuals who lived within the same Nazca communities. This led experts to believe the heads were part of ritual practices, possibly ancestor veneration or religious ceremonies, rather than battlefield spoils. Radiocarbon dating places the practice between 500 BCE and 500 CE. Holes were deliberately made in the skulls so cords could be threaded through, likely worn during ceremonies. Despite the centuries, many of the heads still have their hair and facial structure intact, showing that the preservation methods were pretty effective. These weren't trophies of conquest, but deeply symbolic items tied to belief systems we're only beginning to understand. Ritual, memory, and identity are all braided into bone. Number 4. Gravettian female head in France. Archaeologists working at Amiens Rainencourt 1 in northern France recently found a stunning female figurine head from the Gravettian period, which dates back around 27,000 years. Unlike most Paleolithic statuettes, which are often abstract, headless, or minimally detailed, this chalk-carved piece features precisely sculpted facial features and a carefully incised headdress. Measuring just 2.1 centimeters tall, it captures a striking upward gaze with hollowed eye sockets and fine detailing across the cheeks and nose. The rear of the head reveals deliberate incisions like grid patterns, vertical lines, and notches, interpreted as braided hair, a net, or ritual headwear. This level of facial individuality is almost unheard of in Gravettian art. Excavations at the site have revealed more than 20 statuettes carved from chalk, ivory, and soft stone, all shaped on-site, suggesting the area functioned as a workshop. Most figurines follow the classic Venus style, broad hips, reduced limbs, and abstract forms, but this one stands apart. Its detail suggests not just a symbolic figure, but a named person, or perhaps someone revered. Number 3. Sword of Tiberius. This is one of ancient Rome's most iconic military relics. It was discovered in 1848 near the banks of the River Rhine in Germany, and this sword dates back around 2,000 years. It is thought to have been owned by a high-ranking officer during the reign of Emperor Tiberius. The blade itself shows its age, but the bronze scabbard, gilded and adorned, is a work of art. It depicts a detailed scene of Emperor Tiberius saluting his adopted son Germanicus, who served as commander-in-chief along the frontier. The sword's fine spot, near the site of a Roman military stronghold, suggests it was lost during battle, possibly in one of Rome's many clashes with Germanic tribes. Though it likely didn't belong to Germanicus himself, it would have been carried by someone close to him, possibly one of his senior officers. Today, as of 2025, it rests in the British Museum, still bearing the political and martial symbolism carved into its sheath. Number 2. The Tecaxic Calyx La Huaca Head. In 1933, archaeologist José García Payón unearthed a small stone head beneath a pyramid in Tecaxic Calyx La Huaca, Mexico. The other burial items matched typical pre-Columbian artifacts except for the head. Its facial features didn't resemble any known indigenous style. Instead, it looked distinctly Roman. Shocked, Payón kept quiet for years, only revealing the discovery in 1960. The mystery deepened when, in 2001, Romeo H. Hrista from the University of New Mexico confirmed the head's Roman origin, dating it to the 2nd century CE. But how did a Roman artifact end up in a sealed pre-Hispanic tomb in central Mexico, long before Columbus arrived? Some speculate it arrived via Viking trade routes, others suggest shipwreck survivors. Skeptics argue it's a modern intrusion, accidentally mixed into the site. But nothing about the stratigraphy suggests the burial was disturbed. The idea of Romans reaching the Americas isn't mainstream, but this sculpture refuses to be ignored. It might not change history overnight, but it definitely forces a second look at who got here first. What do you think about it? Let us know. Number 1. Aztec Death Whistle. At first glance, the Aztec death whistle looks like something meant to scare, but hearing it is worse. When blown, it emits a chilling human-like scream that sounds like someone dying in agony. These skull-shaped instruments weren't just ritual objects, they were tactical. Aztec warriors used them in battle to terrify their enemies, making it sound like the dead were rising. Think of it as ancient psychological warfare. The whistles might also be tied to sacrifice. One was found still clutched in the ribs of a victim buried inside a temple to Ethicatl, the Aztec wind god. That detail points to a spiritual role as well. Perhaps the whistle helped souls reach the afterlife. Whatever the full story, these eerie devices weren't just morbid sculptures. They were functional, fear-inducing, and steeped in meaning. Carved in the image of death and designed to scream like it, they were the last sound an enemy might hear, and possibly the first sound a soul heard on the way out. If you've enjoyed watching this video, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.